So today I'm going to show you an optional adapter that CameTV has come out with. And this battery adapter will work on both the Prodigy and the ARGO. Again, it's an optional one and it could be beneficial for some people. I'm not sure about the ARGO. I don't know why you may need it, but on the Prodigy, I think it's a huge benefit. So what it is, it's a battery plate that will allow you to use a V-mount battery to power up the gimbal. And let me explain to you why that is beneficial, especially for the Prodigy, because it's designed for bigger cameras. And most of the cameras, the bigger cameras, are powered off of V-mount. So whether it be a Blackmagic design or something from Red or a Kinfinity, that, you know, they kind of run off of V-mount as an optional power source. This is going to let you run both the gimbal and the camera off of a single V-mount battery. So I'll kind of show you an example of why. So here's your typical Prodigy setup. This is the battery that powers it up. Inside of this case is 4 18650 batteries. It's a really nice option because you can get those batteries just about anywhere. They're fairly cheap, so you can stock up and shoot all week. But if I wanted to put my Blackmagic Design Ursa in here, this is not going to be able to power my camera, so I have to have a power source with my camera. And my solution right now has been to leave the V-mount battery here on the back because this frame is big enough to support this kind of setup right here. So this is the way I typically fly it. But if I wanted to go with a little bit longer lens, I'd have to slide my camera back. Now this V-mount takes up several inches, and so I'm going to start running into some clearance issues. So that's where this battery plate comes really handy. So let me show you. We'll take off the original battery. And what we're going to do is we're going to now take this battery off of the Blackmagic Design Ursa, and we're going to use the V-mount battery plate. Now, one thing about the battery plate here for V-mount, this one is designed for CameTV's compact V-mount battery. Now, there are other brands of compact V-mounts. This one is about 14 centimeters high, and so that's going to be important if you're trying to power your gimbal and camera off of a V-mount. You want to get something that's going to be compact because there's a clearance issue here on the back yaw bar up here. So you need a battery that's going to be short enough to clear that. Now this is 14 centimeters high, so if you guys are using other compact V-mounts out there, if it's close to that, it'll probably work. So this is 14 centimeters, and just, you know, figure out if yours is going to fit or not. Otherwise, these are some compact ones from CameTV, available in 65, I think a 95, 120, and 130 watt. Really nice batteries, lightweight, again, really small as well. So now we can put this battery here on the back. And on the side of the battery, here, there's a switch to turn the gimbal on. Now, as you know, the power switch for their gimbals is actually part of the battery. So you press the on-off on the battery and it powers up the gimbal. Very similar here, the on-off switch is on the plate and then the battery will power it up. So you'll see, there you go. So it's kind of reacting. I don't have anything balanced on here yet, so it's going to move around a little bit, but you see that it does power up the gimbal. I'm going to power it off for a second here. So now that we have the V-mount on the back there, in order to power up my camera, I'd have to use an external cable and plug directly into that battery. The reason why, there is a D-tap here, but they're using slip rings and it's not thick enough. The wires aren't heavy enough to transfer the amperage needed to power this camera. Now, other cameras out there, you know, whether it be Kinfinity or, you know, a Red or something, like, I don't know what their power requirements are, but these slip rings, the wiring here does not allow me to power up my Blackmagic Design Ursa Mini, so I have to go directly to the D-tap, which is still not a problem. So let me set that up. All right, as you can see here, I have my camera powered up. I'm running it to the side of the battery, the D-tap on the battery, and this gimbal is working, so it is responding. So at this moment, we have both the gimbal and the camera powered on at the same time. Now you can get a shorter cable. This cable is not going to be a problem for a setup like this because it's not like I'm doing inversions on this gimbal. I'm really just stabilizing my footage in this position here, so I'm not going crazy with any of the angles or anything. So having a cable to the battery is not a big problem for me. But what this setup does for me is it gives me a lot of clearance back here behind the camera. So now I can slide my camera further back into the frame. It allows me to use slightly heavier lenses, maybe longer lenses, because I could slide the camera back a little bit more. Or now I can start putting on like follow focus mechanisms that further adds weight to the front of the camera, so we could shift that balance back. So we have a lot of clearance. We're powering up both the gimbal and the camera at the same time. So you're wondering what happens if I want to park the gimbal and maybe turn it off. Well, we can turn off the gimbal, and you see it powers off, and it won't shut down the camera here. The reason why is we're coming off of the battery directly. So it's D-tap right out, so we're not dealing with the switch. The switch only powers up the gimbal. So it's no problem if you have to park your gimbal and you're still reviewing footage on your camera, and then you could turn your gimbal back on when you're ready to shoot. That's a look at CameTV's new battery plate that works with their compact V mounts. Again, beneficial for this type of gimbal right here, because now you're freeing up several inches of space within the gimbal, so you can move your camera around a lot more. You're also shedding off about a half a pound. Instead of having two different batteries, you can get rid of this guy, and then you have this one over here. Now, depending on your accessories, you probably could power up your monitors and so on by using a D-tap splitter. So really handy to have this nice battery mount. Makes balancing a little better because you get more of that weight back there, and then the camera up here. And I don't know, I really like it. I really dig it. I think it's going to be hugely beneficial for this gimbal, especially the Prodigy, because it's designed for the bigger cameras, and those bigger cameras typically rely on like V-mount batteries. So you can see I have my camera balanced out here. I also have the V-mount on the back. And again, you could use different cameras, but this solution works for a lot of the cinema cameras because they are typically powered off of a big battery like a V-mount here. So you're powering up both the gimbal and the camera. You're saving a little bit of space up in the frame. You're shedding a little bit of weight off. You're getting better balance because you're adding more weight off of the back here, to counter the camera up front. So you don't have to adjust your yaw as bad or as much. So it's a really good solution. I think it's going to help a lot of people out there. If you guys have any more questions about this stuff, I'm going to have a link below this video and also on the blog at cheesycam.com.